the Deep South's oldest rivalry, Georgia at Auburn in Jordan-Hare. I will not attempt to do that again. I kind of regret it. This line started out around 16, and it is now down to around 14 and a half.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Again, we asked the question, what is it that Vegas knows? What do they know that we don't? What we do know is this is going to be Carson Beck's first real road test against what should be a very hostile Jordan-Hare, because this is Hugh Freeze's, first big time rivalry game as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. There's only one thing that has me not excited for this game. Do you want to take a guess?
Would it be Georgia?
No, no, I'm looking for them to lose. Sorry for all of our Georgia listeners, but also not sorry. No, that is not the reason. This is something that we can all unite on. We can, Tennessee fans, Bama fans, LSU fans, all the Tiger fans, right? All of them. We can all unite on this one fact.
Okay, then you got to hit me with it. I don't know.
The only downside of this game is on CBS.
Oh,
3:30 CBS.
Quick aside, I've bashed Gary Danielson and you name it, Lundquist, anybody that they've had, I've bashed them for years. But the replacement last week, CBS just got to go. Bye bye.
No kidding. Well, let's dive into it. Shouldn't be a super long segment here, but if I'm Auburn, man, I realize that I'm playing with house money and I'm letting it all hang out. It's a home game. Again, this is Carson Beck's real road test, which could really set a one of two trajectories for his career, or at least the season for him as the quarterback of the Dogs. You go in and you take a beating and you come out with a close win. What does that do for your confidence? You come in, you take a beating, you lose that game. What does that do for your confidence? Right? You come in, you handle business. All right. Carson Beck is the Georgia quarterback moving forward. Not that that's in question, but it just, this is one of those games that's just kind of set the tone for him, for that fan base relationship altogether.
Completely agree. Thing I like most and couldn't agree with more is that Auburn is in fact playing with house money. There's only a handful of true diehards that maybe have an expectation to pull off an upset in this game. You're pretty crazy. You bleed Auburn if you expect an upset in this game. So should be a realization that it is house money. It is that's on the larger scale of home underdogs that you'll see anywhere. Whether it started out at 16, now no matter what it's down to, you're just not going to see that a lot because playing on the road, winning on the road is very hard. But it is a massive, massive uphill battle for Auburn. They're just undermanned. They are not. There's not as much residual talent. And unfortunately, a lot of that comes back to quarterback in the way that Peyton Thorne has played so far. Just one of those teams that I wonder about why they didn't cheat, lie, steal, pay Grayson McCall and, Hartman and some of those guys to come do the job. And they wound up with a Mertz or a Thorne, you name it. But what an uphill battle. Don't have many matchups, if any, if there's one that I like for Auburn in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. On the Grayson McCall topic, if you're Auburn, find his major. Just find it. Just make it. Just create it. Yeah. Just create it. No, I'm with you. As we get into this, I do think that this game will be closer than people expect. I like Hugh Freeze a lot. I like his abilities as a play caller, as a game planner, all these things. Again, Georgia has everything to lose. Auburn has got nothing to lose, right? First year, there's going to be grace. We're already seeing improvement with Auburn altogether, right? I don't know that there's an Auburn fan out there who expects to win this game. So, again, you're playing with house money. Let it rip. Bring the house on Carson Beck. Make him prove to the world that he's good enough to be the two-time defending national championship quarterback, right? Make him prove that. Make him earn his way out of the Stetson Bennett shadow. Offensively, let it all hang out. Everything that you've installed, let it rip. The double reverses, the Gus Malzahn plays, if you will. Just let it go because you got nothing to lose. And if I'm a Georgia fan, that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, that I would not be looking forward to. And, no matter what it is, literally, because there's a small handful of things that it could be so far, whether it's Bobo being new to this team, not new to the program, but new to this team again, whatever it may be that Georgia is starting a little slower than, because they're still steamrolling teams. It's just not as high scoring and the demolition that it was at times. But whatever it is, those things they've got to iron out. I think we'll actually learn about Georgia tomorrow because of the environment. Beck especially.
Agreed.
This is a good test. Let's say Tennessee continues and they're having a decent season. This is a good lead up to what Neyland Stadium could be in the second to last game of the season. I mean, This is big for them.
Yeah.
I wonder about the running back rotations. They're actually pretty thin there as far as injuries, not as far as recruiting, obviously. And what are they going to do on the outside? Because we know they're going to force feed Brock Bowers when they have to. Are they going to develop anything new on the outside? And I think this would be a decent opportunity to do that because you're going to be able to give Beck time in theory, unless Auburn just brings the house time after time. They rattle him, they do those things. So what's new? What actually can we learn from this game?
Dude, I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. I think if I'm Georgia defensively, I think I just want to keep everything in front of me. I want Auburn. Hey, you know what? We're going to make you put drives together. I still believe that my dude is better than your dude, but we're going to keep everything in front of us. We're going to refuse to lose to you by the big play. And we think that over the span of time and over the span of long drives, you're going to make a mistake somewhere. And we're going to capitalize on that mistake. And almost like an anaconda, just slowly kind of sucking the life out of you, making Auburn not necessarily earn for every yard, but earn points every single drive in the most difficult, long drive possible ways. That was terrible English just then, but you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I do. What do you think about that 45.5? Is my thing. 45.5 over under. I obviously think Georgia could carry that. It seems very, very suspect that it's that low for me.
What's funny is my final score, I believe, is a total of 45. If I'm doing math real quick. Yeah, my total is right at 45. So to ask me what I feel about over or under, my instincts, they lean under.
Yeah, I'm trying to find reasons to go over myself as low as that is.
Yeah, they lean under. I think that the Georgia offense is going to struggle a little bit just because of the environment. I do think that they'll pull it together, right? I think Georgia's going to win this game. Georgia's going to win this game. But I think to answer your question, I'm going to lean under if I have to give an answer. But again, my score total is right at 45. But I think your X factor in this game is Carson Beck. How does he respond to the environment? How does he handle the pressure? How does he? I mean, this is it. This is the moment. This is the time. Your schedule has been not good thus far. This game is turning out to be a little bit more difficult than you thought going into the season. Not that it's still a tall task by any means, but I think it's all going to come down to Carson Beck and just how emotionally sound is he?
That's fair. Totally fair. And I'm with you. I can't think. I mean, obviously, there's so many weapons for Georgia. It could be defensive touchdowns. There's so many weapons that they could exercise to pull away or to, just strangle Auburn to death. I absolutely think they're going to win the game, even if it's ugly. And ugly, if it looks like the South Carolina game 2 weeks ago for them. If it looks like that, I think they're going to do it. I hesitate, but I think they cover. And it could be late garbage points. You know what I mean? It could be a late pick six or some crap like that because I just don't have a lot of trust in the Auburn offense right now. I wish I had more, obviously. But yeah, I mean, for me, this is just as uphill as it gets this week.
I want to ask one question, then I want to get into final predictions. If Auburn wins this game, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, it's just not. I mean, Herm Edwards is right. It's why you play the game. You play to win the game. So to just flat out assume that Georgia's going to win, I think is dumb. To predict it makes a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But But if Georgia loses this game, what's the narrative out on Georgia? I mean, Kirby's in his what year? And Hughes in his first. And Auburn recruiting is already on fire. What does this do for them? I mean, can you imagine?
Oh, no, I can't. I cannot imagine because that's what Auburn needs, that shot in the arm last week. I mean, they lose to Auburn or to Texas A&M last week. They lose 27-10 in a game where Wigman goes down. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just how limited I think. And I think their touchdown was the defensive touchdown where Jimbo was trying to make a tackle and doing hilarious things. So their offense it's just not cutting it. It's just so barren from what they've been and we've seen Hugh work miracles. I mean, coaching miracles, of course. We've seen him do those things, but I mean, it would absolutely skyrocket Auburn. I mean, their stock is, you need to buy it now because it's going to be up. You need to buy their stock now because you're going to make great money on that in the long run. But yeah, I think it would be as devastating as anything can be when you've won back-to-back titles for Georgia. But I mean, ultimately, I do think they're playing the way that Georgia's playing right now. They're not playing like a team that's destined to three-peat, but who's actually going to stand up in their way in the long run of the season. And I just don't think there's that many options right now.
Sure. I do think if you lose this game, I think your hopes at the playoff are all but gone.
Yes, you can't. You're at that point, obviously can't lose another game. We've not seen two lost teams get in. Right. So yeah, and unfortunately for Georgia, I think a loss might be what they need. They need some sort of
great
setback for Kirby to really get a hold of this team. I think because they're not the same right now. They're just not. And it could be as simple as a new quarterback and a new OC. Both guys that have done it for a long time. Beck's been a backup for a long time. I mean, he's gotten lots of garbage time action. But it could be really simple, or it could be the complacency that we see set in when you've done things like back-to-back.
You know, this is why we're best friends. This is why we're best friends, because you listened to my solo episode. You did. I mean, I talked about what that one loss did for Clemson in 2016, and there's several other examples out there. But yeah, dude, I think that could be not the sign of the ship sinking, but the ship getting right.
Yeah.
And I think if there's anybody who does it, Kirby Smart can do it. But I will not be surprised if Auburn pulls it off. Now
I'd still be pretty shocked.
I'll be ecstatic and I will be excited, because this is what college football is made of. But I won't be surprised. I mean, Hugh Freeze can do this. He can.
Yeah, he can.
We've seen him do it. So, and Kirby has proven in his past to drop one that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, he absolutely has.
Let's get into the final predictions of it. Again, 3:30 CBS, Jordan Hare, line, Georgia, 14, over under 45.5. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Georgia 30, Auburn 9. Field goal fest for Auburn. However Georgia gets there, they get there, whether they're slow at half. I think they're going to break out at some point, 30-9.
I can so see that just because that's the way it's kind of gone down in recent years. I can so see that. We forgot to mention that there is an undertone out there, and I only know this because of our friend Corey Toole, that it might not be Peyton Thorne. It might not be Robbie Ashford. It could be this Holden Griner kid coming up to start.
Look, it's time to mix things up, okay? It's time.
Well, don't be surprised if you see a lot of Robbie because you can do more in the running game. But I'll say this, Peyton Thorne is not a statue. He can move.
No, true.
All right. I'm going to take Georgia 28, Auburn 17. And I think the way that this unfolds is Georgia gets a touchdown around the 10 to 6 minute marker late in the fourth, ultimately showing a greater sign of separation on the scoreboard. But I think this game is closer than the experts think. I do think it is an Auburn loss, which is just so unfortunate for everybody who's not a Bulldog because we're so tired of being barked at. But nonetheless, it's going to be the Deep South's oldest rivalry come Saturday. Make sure you tune into it, or don't, because it's on CBS and do not support those jokers. Nonetheless, Georgia, Auburn, Saturday. I got them 28-17.